Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Listen, people. First, how you doing? Make sure and subscribe. Listen, I keep hearing rumors. I keep seeing different reports across different social media pages, different articles. Even Yordenis Ugas is trying to throw us off of the Thurman trail, because it is widely rumored that Thurman and Ugas could be next. Now, remember before, they were talking about Yordenis Ugas getting ready to return to the ring to face Mario Barrios. Well, anyway, that seemed to have gone quiet. And we know Keith Thurman is returning in August. And whenever Ugas gets pinged with questions about Keith Thurman as his next fight in August, Yordenis Ugas has started speaking English on Twitter and saying, "Where'd you hear that? First time I'm hearing that." And you know, when people start deflecting and giving those kind of answers, that's their way of telling you that there's some truth to it. Now, for those of you out there who are saying, "Man, why in the world would Keith Thurman come back to face a guy like Ugas, who's a threat?" Well, I'm gonna tell you, because Keith Thurman wasn't afraid to lose his O, and he's not afraid to take a second loss. And to be honest with you, Keith Thurman still sees himself as a champion. So why would Keith Thurman come back and fight like anyone other than a big name? And why not fight the guy who beat Pacquiao and the guy who hurt Earl Spence, although he lost? Come back and see if he can do the business with him. Keith Thurman's name is right back in the mix. Remember, Keith Thurman is looking to fight 2 to 3 times a year now. He knows that he's on the downside of his career. He let a lot of his prime years. Let me be careful what I say. He wasn't active in a lot of his prime years as a result of getting married, having kids, all the right reasons, right? For anyone to come here and attack Keith Thurman and say he's wrong, he's afraid of Spence, he's afraid of Crawford. No, he had his priorities in the right place, and I commend him for that. Had a daughter, had another one. Look, you can't force situations. And what that tells you about Keith Thurman is Keith Thurman is a mature adult male, and he knows what the priorities are in his life. He's got enough dough. Yeah, there's probably another $20 million that he missed out on for not fighting, but he's probably sitting on about $30 million, okay? So at the end of the day, we know who the real greedy belly is, right? But for Keith Thurman, if he doesn't fight a guy like Yordenis Ugas, I just can't see him fighting Cody Crowley, because Cody Crowley's already in place for a mandatory shot at the WBC title. But the thing is, I think they're going to have another eliminator where Cody Crowley will fight the winner of Thurman and Ugas. And then whoever wins there will be, in line to get their opportunity at the WBC strap, whenever it's the WBC's turn to fight for it. Because we know Jerome Boots Ennis, if he can get through his next fight, which won't be easy, Jerome Boots Ennis should be the runner-up. I mean, not the runner-up, he should be the number one person to get a shot at, Spence and Crawford, especially if they decide not to have a rematch, and whoever wins the fight, well, they'll be the one to be facing Jerome Boots Ennis if he can do the business with Roman Villa. And then after that, we got to see how the other sanctioning bodies are going to fall into place. But I can't see the WBC being too far behind the IBF. The WBC has a way where they do things to where they always seem to have their belt being defended. Their mandatories getting opportunities. You guys notice that? So don't be surprised if old Keith Thurman gets an opportunity to do the business after Boots Ennis. And don't be surprised if the secret society comes together and makes a Thurman and Boots fight. I mean, hey, we've seen more, I would say, crazy things happen. But that being said, I think that would be an outstanding fight. Thurman against Ugas. Ugas is active. Yeah, he's coming off of being damaged. But so to me, that kind of balances out the inactivity of Thurman. He's getting an opponent who's a threat, but was injured, coming off of a layoff fighting a guy like Thurman with heavy hands, you could see a situation where it's like when Miguel Cotto fought Margarito in that second fight. Yeah, Cotto was winning the fight. He was damaging that eye. The eye started to swell. But in that round where they chose not to let Margarito come out, Margarito was starting to touch Cotto. Cotto was getting tired. So they saved Cotto. And I'm going to say it. Cotto was winning, but Margarito was starting to come on. If they would let that fight go another 2 rounds, Cotto would have lost. And they know that. But that being said, let's see what happened with Thurman and Ugas. If they fight, I got to give the edge to Keith Thurman. Because for some reason, Ugas just, I guess it depends on the opponent, but he's more of a counter puncher and he has extremely long arms, but I just felt he could have done more against Spence. But at the end of the day, you know, Spence is a special fighter, but I think Ugas kind of lost his right to complain by not being as active as he could have been, and as a result, taking so many shots by Earl Spence. But anyway, we'll find out soon if it's true or not. Hopefully so. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. All 7 continents. And I'm in the breeze.